Alrighty, welcome back, everyone. Thanks for coming back. It's happy. I'm happy. We're happy to have you back. Today, we are going to talk about tips for a more easy time meditating. Someone asked me if I think meditation is important. It's funny how many of the questions we get in email format. I think it's because of the niche nature of this channel. Also, probably the poor quality. People don't want to be known that they're associating with this channel, but people keep asking questions, so they must be learning something. Someone asked if I think meditation is important because I never talk about it. And that's a good point. I don't talk about meditation enough. I assume that if you're here wanting to know about the Cliffoth and underworld death chaos currents, that you're already meditating. But I shouldn't assume that, because most people who end up in this path end up here by accident or confusion. And this is, as much as many of you might hate to admit that you either came here because of that or are still here because of that, it might actually be true. It might be something to think about. So I need to consider that you're not all as advanced as you probably should be if you're here, or as dedicated. Many of you definitely know what you're doing. Many of you definitely know what you're talking about. I hear you. I get that. You've left comments, you've emailed me, we've had sessions that have showed that you are more than capable and you know what you're talking about. So if you have tips as well that I've forgotten, please leave them below. Now, the number one thing about meditation is to start without expectation. Meditation, meditare, it means planning. So it's not even really the correct word. And it's semantics. It depends how you define it. Planning. But don't have expectations, and don't try to become a yogi overnight. You need to, or rather I suggest starting very slowly and forget all of the things that you know about meditation. Even perhaps what I have talked about or am going to talk about. This is just a template. First thing that you'll hear people saying that I think is incorrect is you need to sit in a certain position, or you need to turn off all the music, you need to turn off all the lights. You need to do what's going to get you to meditate. That's what you need to do. If listening to death metal with strobe lights and you're hanging from an ankle upside down, more power to you. If that's what gets you to meditate, or if that's what gets you to break through, go ahead. Consider, though, maybe doing it without the strobe lights sometimes, though. Or maybe think about doing it while standing upright sometimes, in an effort to be able to do it anywhere at any time, anyway. I think it's beneficial to have a sort of decisive form of meditation, a decisive form of plan, of action. But it's also good, I think, to break our boundaries. But if we're talking about just basic meditation, if we're talking about just stilling the mind, if we're talking about quieting the bodily sensory sensations, there are certain asana, or thrones, or positions, and there are certain mudras that allow for more calm minds. The Gayana mudra, this one right here, is often seen, but one that I like a lot, I cannot remember the name of it. Oh, what is the name of this mudra? I am getting this from Mudras, Yoga in Your Hands. Like this book. Mudras are not a foundational part of my practice, but I do find them beneficial, so I use them. This mudra is the Apan Vayu or Apana Vayu mudra. And you place your finger here on the sort of the steaky part of your hand, the meat part, and then you bring these two fingers here like this. And what this does is it slows heart rate, and it basically, it's also called the heart attack mudra. Because it calms and it slows the heart rate. Now, obviously, check with your physician before you yada yada. But that is one of the most calming mudras that I have found. Another one is this one here. It's seen in a lot of statues of various bodhisattvas and Buddhas. And this dispels negativity. So if you, like me, have intrusive thoughts and intrusive images, this one, especially if you do it regularly, then you will have a much easier time keeping your mind still. Something else I want to mention. When I was in therapy as a teenager, I had this story time. I had this amazing counselor, this amazing psychiatrist, who showed me something called the hookups. And it's something of an asana. And I don't think I have really enough room to show it to you, but something very important that she said to me was to make sure I practice it when I'm not having a panic attack as well. Because this technique, okay, it's not that hard. So basically, you cross your arms like this, and then you bring them up like this. And I haven't done this in, I don't know, over a decade, other than demonstrating it for other people, because I found other things. But if you want to try this, go ahead and try it. If you want to try something else, go ahead. But you do this, and then you cross your legs, whatever's more comfortable for you. And one of the reasons for doing this, it's called the hookups position or something very similar. One of the reasons for doing this is because you never do that on like a daily basis. Like you're never going to like pass someone the milk and you're like, oh, wait a minute, here, take the milk. Hey, can you pass the cottage cheese? Yeah, one second. It puts you in a very specific frequency, one. But two, also because what you're going to do when you do this or something like this is you're going to imagine a balloon inhaling or inflating as you inhale and then deflating as you exhale. And you're going to imagine this balloon in a peaceful color. For me, it used to be a very, very dark blue. Now it's more like probably like a forest green. If you like light pink, if you like white, if you like yellow, if you like sky blue, if you like turquoise, make the balloon that color. But the idea is you're affecting, I'm not going to get too much into neuroscience and stuff here, but you're affecting both hemispheres of your brain, is the dumb way to say it, the dumber way to say it. Both hemispheres of your brain at the same time, which contradicts the capacity for anxiety and flitting around thinking about random things. Yes, many of you are going to have to train your capacity for focus and attention. But check this out. Part of the reason you might be having some of the problems that you have are because of a lack of focus and attention. I love you. That's why I'm telling you. So, using things like mudras can help. Now we're getting into set and setting, much like the LSD community used to preach in the Timothy Leary days. So, I know I look that old, but I'm not that old. But I am older than I look. So, set and setting. When I come to meditate in my study a lot of times, and the light's on, and none of the candles are lit, I come in here sometimes and I'm like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna come in here and be intellectual. I'm gonna read these books. I'm gonna make these plans. But if I come in here and I light all my candles and I turn off the light and I get my little, I'll share something personal with you guys here. I've got these little plates here. They're actually probably coasters is what they are, because they've got these things. But what I've done is I've just put symbols on them that represent the elements to me personally. And I place them down around me on the floor as, before I meditate, and then I place them at the quarters, so to speak. And then when I come back in here, and these are placed on the floor, and the lights are dim, and all the candles are going, maybe I put some music on as well. By the time I get in here like that, I'm like, yeah, I could definitely. And the next thing I know, a half an hour's gone by. If you are into crystals and stones, get a type of stone that works for you. I don't talk about crystals and stones a lot because most of the time you're already using them, or you don't get the whole crystal thing, so you don't want to hear about it. At least having a heavy stone in your hand, even if it's just like a palm stone of some kind, the weight of it, or this one isn't a very big palm stone, but you get the idea. Just having the weight of something can help you sink into a deeper state of meditation. So we can use mudras, we can use stones, we can use incense, we can use lighting, we can use music. There is mantra that we can use. A mantra, especially one that is performed regularly, can very, very quickly pull you into a very deep state of trance. Any of these things, a lot of people would suggest against. No, don't rely on external things. And that is something that I say as well. Don't rely on external things. But I do believe it is okay to supplement. I do believe, much like when I was using like hallucinogens and drugs regularly, now I know where those places are within me. I don't need to use them anymore. Like, sure, I'll do like a spring, like mushroom trip, if I feel so inclined, but I'm no longer using substances all the time, every day, to try to stay in those states. I took the time to work myself to be able to find them naturally. This is also true with meditation. But if you never allow yourself to get into a place that's deep enough, then by using other things, you might never be able to find it without them. You absolutely can and could. But it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to do things. I had a severe anxiety disorder because I didn't know. I genuinely did not know what it felt like to not be anxious. I would think I was calm, but a situation would just proc my anxiety like out of nowhere. And my blood pressure, I would get as calm as I could, and then I would take my blood pressure. Some of you are gonna laugh. You're gonna say this is crazy, but I would take my blood pressure, and it would be like 180 over 120, and it's supposed to be like 120 over 80. My blood pressure would be almost double what it was supposed to be when I felt like I was calm. I was given one prescription of medication and took it over 3 days. Not the whole. I said that wrong. I used some of the prescription over a 3-day period and basically put myself within a ward. And I did nothing but relax and listen to chill hop and take that medicine. I don't want to trigger people with names, but take that medicine for 3 days and play, like, I think I played Magic the Gathering just for like 3 days straight, just not giving a fuck. And after that 3-day period, I realized how much differently I felt. I realized that when someone did something I didn't like, I didn't have to react to it. When someone did something that I didn't like, I was like, I didn't like that. And it was like, it put time and space between the impulse and the response. And I think that's what meditation can help do as well, is slow things down, to put time between the impulse and the reaction and decide if we even want to react at all. So don't be afraid to use other things to help you. Don't be afraid to try other forms of meditation. And remember that meditation isn't just no-mindedness. There are many forms of meditation. Pardon me. Blackberry and apple cider tea. Man. There's no-mindedness meditation, but there's also generation meditation where you're building in your mind's eye, in like Buddhist traditions, temples or nets, things like that. There is mantra meditation where you're specifically focused on one symbol or one word. There's path working. There's so many different kinds of meditation. Just start doing it. And even if, literally, if all you can do is take 10 seconds to focus on an inhale, and then a hold, an inhold, and then an exhale, and then an exhold, if that's all you can do, it will benefit you. And pretty soon you'll start saying, well, I can do that 10 seconds like in the morning and like in the evening or in the afternoon. And then the next thing you know, that 10 seconds might just turn into 10 times a day. And then you realize, well, I could probably do more than 10 seconds, and then you won't have to do it 10 times a day. And maybe the next thing you know, you're just sitting there breathing for 10 minutes without a single care, without a single thought, perfect presence and peace. Some of you are laughing like, I'm a baneful magician. What the fuck am I going to do with peace? Well, maybe it would do you some good to find out, but I'll give you a little hint. Imagine you have an empire and you want to capture all of the other empires. How much easier is that going to be if you don't have conflict within your own home, within your own castle, within your own family, within your own tribe? If there's no other invading forces that are constantly sieging and bombarding you while you're trying to make plans? Just saying. Anyway, is there anything else? Meditation. There are specific deities that can help you with meditation. I don't really want to name too many because I don't want you guys to feel like you have to use them. I don't want you to feel like it's required or necessary, or better. But another thing that I would suggest is atavistic and ancestral avatars for meditation. And what I mean by that is even animalistic, atavistic, animalistic, and ancestral avatars. Meditate as something other than yourself. Meditate as your grandfather. Meditate as your grandmother. If there's something that you have a problem doing, like if you have a problem scrying and you know someone who is really good at scrying, imagine that you're them and then try and scry. Or imagine that you are one of your ancient ancestors. This is another thing to meditate upon. You can meditate upon a specific color, a specific sigil, but turning into or transforming or shape-shifting, as it were, into another animal can show you things about yourself that you had not previously thought about in more ways than one. It can also help unlock parts of you that are blocked or stuck or atrophied. If you feel like you are a loner, as contradictory as it is because of the term lone wolf, like imagine that you're a wolf in a pack. Or if you feel weak, imagine that you're a fucking elephant. You know what I mean? And you can do this in specific times when you feel that way, or you can do it preemptively and build that up in your aura, so to speak. But anyway, I think that's it for this one. We covered a lot. Meditation is crucial. It is important. I do it every single day if I'm on it. And if not, then I don't feel like I'm on it. Anyway, questions or comments, leave them below, please. Have a good rest of the day, good rest of the week, good rest of the month and year. Take care. I will see you later, hopefully. And thanks for stopping by.